You are listening to LuxLife PodCast.
Goddamn, little mama, how you do that down? The way your waist stay still when you move that down. Oh, and girl, you know that ass if you sit right. You gon' put in work, you going overtime.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the sold out LuxLife Arena. And we have an action-packed show for you today. And the action-packed show for you today is the Attitude Era. WWF, the year 1999. Part 1. Part 1. At that.
Come get on the train. Pimpin' ain't easy. Pimps up. Hold down.
Welcome to the LuxLife PodCast, and you are listening to the LuxLife PodCast, and I am your host, Hitley. Roll the Lux.
Man, pimpin' ain't easy.
What do we have in store for y'all for this show, for this episode, part 1, the WWF year 1999. What a great year. What a great year. First of all, Vince McMahon, Mr. McMahon won the Royal Rumble. At WrestleMania, Stone Cold Steve Austin beat The Rock for the WWF Championship. China,
Pimps up.
she won the Intercontinental Championship. Who else won? Oh, Kane and X-Pac, they was partners. The Rock and Sock connection. It was just a whole lot of things going on there, you know? But before I get into like what was going on, I want to tell y'all this is part 1 of a 2-part episode. First part gonna be me doing an overview of 1999, pretty much, you know, pointing out a couple things, you know, telling y'all a couple, you know, some of the superstars that was wrestling at that time in that year. And then part 2 is gonna be, I'm gonna have a couple of callers, maybe 1, maybe 2, maybe 3. I really don't know yet, but we're gonna get to that when we get to it. And I'm gonna give y'all my top 5 WWF superstars and WWE. So I'm gonna go 1999 all the way to present, you know. But for right now, I want to go over, I got a list of athletes who was wrestling at that time. I'm gonna go over my list, you know. Some of it I can say without looking, but sometimes you forget. But I'm gonna set that down for now. Man, we had The Rock back in 1999, Stone Cold Steve Austin, Triple H, The Big Show, The Undertaker, Kane, D-Generation X, X-Pac, Road Dogg, Jesse James, Badass Billy Gunn, China. Who else? We had Val Venus, Jeff Jarrett, The Big Boss Man, let's see, Mankind, and I'm trying to think, man. There was so many and superstars back then or whatever. So that's why I'm finna get into my list. Gotta sip the goose. Grey Goose, baby. Oh yeah, D-Lo Brown, The Godfather, Edge, yeah, Al Snow, the Acolyte, Bradshaw and Farouk, Tess. And then I might have said Edge and Christian. Hardcore, Holly Crash, Holly Ken, Sharon Rock, Steve Blackman, Jeff and Matt Hardy, Hardy Boys, Gangrel, Midian. Already said The Undertaker. We had Visceral, Prince Albert, Mark Henry. I think I said D-Lo Brown. I ain't no. No. Oh yeah, we had the Dudley Boys, Devon and Bubba Ray Dudley. Chris Jericho made his debut in '99. Scotty Too Hotty, all of them, Shane McMahon, Shawn Michaels, Vince McMahon, Gilbert. Let's see. Then I got a list of female wrestlers. Cactus Jack, Jim Ross, Jerry the King Lawler. It's just, what I'm saying? I'm going to tell you a couple groups. You had the corporate ministry, which was the corporate blended in with the ministry, which was the Undertaker group. And the corporate was like Vince McMahon, Shane McMahon, and the people they was rolling with. They combined them all together, man. There was so many people in that group. It filled the whole ring up. So it was like them versus Stone Cold, The Rock, all them, you know what I'm saying? Matter of fact, The Rock used to be a part of the corporate because instead of the people's elbow, it was called the corporate elbow and the corporate eyebrow and all that type of stuff like that. But that's what I used to like about wrestling back in 1999 or back then in the Attitude Era. It was like heels used to fight heels, face used to fight face and the heel fight each other. And it was like people would go heel and face like 3 or 4 times a year sometimes, to be for real. You be liking them, then you don't like them. And it was crazy back then, for real. You know what I'm saying? Like, at one point, for a minute, Mr. McMahon was a face. He was heel. He usually heel for the most part, but he was a face. Like, at the end, I think back when Triple H won the WWF Championship, I think he was face because Triple H put his hands on Leonard McMahon. That's why he turned face. That's when he was going, you know what I'm saying? He was like on Steve Austin's side, The Rock side, Mankind side, and all that. Oh yeah, speaking of Mankind, y'all remember the Rock and Sock connection with The Rock and Mankind? That was crazy. Even though they would win the belt and pretty much lose it the next week, to be for real, they ain't hold that belt not for long. Then you had the Big Boss Man and the Big Show situation. Back when the Big Show daddy was dying or died or whatever, it was some crazy stuff. Like, I remember me and Rap and Shamu be killing ourselves laughing how the Big Boss Man came out there. He dropped the paper and and then he was like, what he told? I'm sorry about the Big Show daddy being dead. And they had a little, feud going on, a rivalry going on back then. Then you had, let's say, you had the Undertaker feud. Undertaker feud was like, Undertaker just really didn't rock with nobody like that. I think he said, I don't like nobody. and let's see, The Rock was feuding with Steve Austin for a second. Triple H, he would feud with Triple H. Val Venus, I believe, DX. Oh yeah, they had DX. You had Road Dogg, Jesse James, Triple H, China, X-Pac, Badass Billy Gunn. You had the Acolytes. You had Farouk and Bradshaw. You had the Mean Street Posse back then. That was like Shane McMahon's like the people he grew up with, childhood friends or whatever. Then who else did we have? Different group. The Hardy Boys, Edge and Christian. Then they had the Brood, you know, the old and the new Brood. I think the first Brood was like Gangrel and Edge and Christian. Then the new one was like, I think the Hardy Boys. Yeah, it was the Hardy Boys. And then you had different segments like when China she was gonna fight Jeff Jarrett for the Intercontinental Championship. That was crazy because Jeff Jarrett was trying to show, you know what I'm saying, China what was gonna happen to her at the pay-per-view and all this and that. Man, he was putting the figure four on, he was beating up women left and right, man. You can't even do that now on TV, boy. They'll go crazy. Man, he put figure four on the old women and Moolah, the fabulous Moolah and all that type of stuff. Makeup artists and all that, man. It was a crazy feud then too. Back when it was him, Jeff Jarrett and Deborah. That's who it was. Then they added Miss Kitty to their group. Let's see. You had Kane and X-Pac. They was tag team partners and that was a crazy relationship. But to be for real, I've been watching Raw the year 1999. I think I'm probably on like I got like 5 or 6 more episodes for the year. So I'm like in November or whatever. So I've been watching that. That's why I wanted to do this episode because I've been getting in tune. I went back down memory lane, man. I used to love wrestling back in 99, man. That was like the best time. I was legit then. Watching Godfather bring the hoes out, the whole train. You know what I'm saying? Pimpin' ain't easy. Let's see. What else we had going on tonight? Y2J, Chris Jericho made his debut. Came out on the Rock, trying to lay the smackdown on the mic. Ain't nobody laying the smackdown on the Rock. Who else? Who made a debut? I can't remember who made. Leyland Garcia, that's the ring announcer. She made a debut, you know what I'm saying? That when she came out. But my favorite part back then was the promos with like The Rock laying the smackdown, calling you a Rudy Poo-can ass, calling you a jabroni, you know, turn that some bit sideways and stick it straight up your candy ass, that type of stuff. Stone Cold, he coming out there talking about open up a can of whoop ass, stumping the mud hole and you walking it dry, you know what I'm saying? What else Stone Cold used to say? And that's all I got to say about that. And the promo back then, and Triple H, he come out cutting promos, man. That was just a magical year. I used to love watching wrestling back then. Ain't nothing gonna get better than the year 1999. I'm pretty sure 98 was good and all that, so I got to go back and watch 98, 2000, 96 or whatever. Oh yeah, Shawn Michaels was the commissioner. That was back when Leonard McMahon and what's her name? Stephanie McMahon gave Stone Cold 50% of the company. And Stone Cold versus Shane McMahon and Vince McMahon for full custody of full ownership of the company. They had that match. I think they had a 6-pack match. Triple H, it was for the vacant WWF championship. He had Triple H and versus The Rock. I think Big Show, Undertaker, British Bulldog. I think Stone Cold was the special enforcer because the referees went on strike and all types of stuff like that. They had a match, Godfather versus Viscera, called a winner take whole match, winner take all the holes match. Man, it was just a lot of crazy stuff back then, man. I used to love watching wrestling back then. But I just really wanted to come on this episode to give y'all an overview because next week, we will be having guests on telling us about they, best memories of the year 1999. WWF, the Attitude Era, man. Get with it or get rolled over, you know what I'm saying? 1999. I'm gonna let that Godfather ride for a minute while I sip for a minute. Cause pimping ain't easy, baby.
Pimps up. Hold down.
So next week, I want y'all to tune in for part 2.
Man, pimpin'
And this episode
ain't easy.
is called The Attitude Era. WWF, The Attitude Era. The year of 1999. And we're gonna end it like that. Be ready for part 2. Huh? This is the LuxLife Podcast, and you are listening to the LuxLife Podcast. Now, hold on. Let me do a couple. Hold on, before we head out, I gotta do a couple things. Finally. No, I don't wanna do that. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. No, that ain't it. Cause that's the bottom line, cause that ain't it. That ain't it. I'm trying to find it. Oh yeah.
Come get
Huh? Road to luxury. Y'all come back next week now.
Pimpin' ain't easy. Pimps up. Hold down.
Pimpin' ain't easy.
Man, pimpin' ain't easy.
See y'all next week now.